Hello and welcome. I am Matt Roddy, and this is the Greater Prescott podcast, where we talk about, you guessed it, all things Greater Prescott. Today, I want to welcome my guests, Annie and Brandon from G.E.M Environmental. You guys, thank you very much for coming to the studio.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're good. Guys, when I was at Community Nature Center, and I got to interview Ranger Ellen, who I think you know fairly well. Ranger Ellen, you're awesome. Like, you're awesome. Yeah. She gave me a list of because I always ask people, hey, who do you recommend who can come on the podcast? And she gave me like more than 10 people. And I'm pretty sure you guys were on the list. And then you guys eventually reached out to me. And so thank you very much. I'm excited to see how that ties together because I don't really know kind of your relationship and how you guys work alongside each other or what. So we're going to get into that. Real quickly, Annie, give the people a couple sentences on what G.E.M Environmental is.
Sure. So G.E.M Environmental is a 501(c) not-for-profit. We're located primarily here in Prescott, but we also do some work with the Bureau of Land Management down in Phoenix and also in New Mexico. And our primary goal is to help underserved students find pathways to careers in STEM fields. So we do that through a lot of different ways, through internships, through early childhood education programs. And so that's what we do at the CNC.
Okay.
But we also do it with college-age students and with young professionals who are looking for more professional development.
Really?
Yeah.
Quite an age range.
It really is. It's really whatever the community needs and where we can see ourselves fitting into that process.
I like the sound of that. I want to come back to that, and we will. But before we really get into what G.E.M does, I would like you guys each to share a little bit about your background, because I really want to tie it into why you guys do what you do and kind of your passion behind it. So, Brandon, kick it off. Where were you born and raised? What'd you do when you came? Just kind of all bring us, bring it all together.
Sure. So I'm kind of all over. I was born in Ohio.
Okay.
Mostly raised in Michigan. So I grew up there, went to college at Michigan State. And then after I graduated...
You're a Spartan.
I am, yes. And so after I graduated college, I wanted to live in a city, so I moved to Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I worked in physical therapy, actually, for about 7 years.
What type? I mean, just... like helping around the office?
No, I was a physical therapy assistant.
Oh, nice.
So I actually worked at a foot and ankle clinic for
I've had one PT assistant on and one owner of a PT place. Yeah.
It's not an easy job.
That's what they say.
But after a while, I just kind of wanted a little bit of a change. So I signed up for Americorps. Okay. And so I came out to Prescott to serve as an event coordinator for a different nonprofit in the city called Boys to Men Mentoring. Okay. So I was there for a year, and then after my year of service was up, I was looking around for jobs, and during my time, I had run into Eric Welsh, who's the founder and executive director for G.E.M. Okay. And we just got along well. I liked his vision. I liked where he was going. And he was looking for a program manager, so I felt like it was a really good fit. So I liked the area of Prescott, so I wanted to stick around. Yeah. So I signed on with G.E.M, and we've just been expanding rapidly ever since. Yay. And it's been a lot of fun.
Put in context what Americorps is, because you say that like it's kind of flesh it out just so that people understand.
So Americorps is a national service organization. So they placed candidates or members around the country with different nonprofits or government agencies, or am I leaving out?
That's a pretty good summary. Yeah.
So there's different divisions of Americorps. I was in Americorps Vista, which stands for Volunteers in Service to America. Okay. So it's a full-time position. Right. Where you go, you're paid like a living stipend. It's nothing special, but enough to get by. Totally. But I mean, you're just doing rewarding work. So it's really fulfilling to.
Do they help with the park rangers as well, Americorps?
So the park rangers at the Community Nature Center, is that what you're thinking of?
I think so.
Yeah, so the rangers, Taylor is a full-time state member, and Kate is a little bit less hour requirement than Taylor. So they're state and national members, which is what I am, and that's based on hours versus Brandon's as a Vista was based on days. Gotcha. Is sort of the simplistic
So are
version.
You an employee of Americorps? Or I don't... You're part of Americorps, put it that way.
Yeah, so the most simple way, the way I usually describe it to people is I'm an Americorps state member, but I work full-time for G.E.M Environmental.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So what about you? Where were you born and raised?
Yeah, so I'm from New Jersey originally. Okay. I grew up there.
What part?
Central Jersey, like about 40 minutes outside of New York City, about an hour and a half-ish from Philly, so right in the middle there. And I loved growing up there. It was great, but I moved to Florida for college. I went to the University of Florida, and I studied international studies there as well as international development. And so after graduation, I really wanted to work with more of sort of a equitable education focus. During my time in my undergraduate, I spent a lot of time working with nonprofits that were focused on education within the Gainesville community and also abroad. And so following graduation, I was planning on doing Peace Corps to do youth development. COVID happened, that kind of got pushed to the wayside, but I still really wanted to join a national service organization. And Peace Corps is really similar to Americorps, which is how I sort of made that shift into Americorps. And what got me really interested in G.E.M was their focus on equitable education, but also how it related to the environment and the outdoors. And I always really loved spending time outside, getting to, go hike around and just all those great things. And so Brandon was actually the one who interviewed me to work for G.E.M.
Okay.
And he had told me about the Community Nature Center, and I was like, yeah, I think that was kind of my, one of the selling points of I really liked the idea of that, so.
Okay, let's tie that in since you're talking about
Sure.
it. What is the relationship with Community Nature Center and G.E.M?
I would say there's a lot of different types of relationships, and maybe Brandon can go into some of the other ones, but I mostly work with the PUSD childcare program, the COVID childcare program. And so that program was kind of born out of Ellen Basher's vision, along with the city of Prescott and the PUSD school district, of when COVID came and there was a lot of students who didn't have a safe space to learn, didn't have somewhere to do their hybrid learning, internet at home, safe parents at home, all those different factors that play into being a successful young learner. And so she sort of came up with the idea of having the COVID childcare program, which is what most of you all know as the CNC program, of having those students coming over from the PUSD schools. And so what G.E.M does in relation to that is we've done a few different things. Currently, we're doing a few days a week, afternoons with the kids. So we go in, we do some programming, some lessons. And the idea is to kind of give the rangers a little bit of a break, give the kids some diversity in their learning and who's instructing them. And just get them interested in STEM. So all of our lessons are STEM related, and we just try and make it fun for them. We do hikes. One of my favorite ones was we did fake dinosaur bone excavations. That was really exciting.
My kids love that.
It was super fun. But yeah, so we do all kinds of things. In the past, over the summer, we were there more often, I think, right, Brendan? A couple days a week versus now we do usually about 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, we've done some other things, the NCCC team restoration there, and a lot of different things too. Yeah,
I guess more officially, we signed an MOU, or memorandum of understanding, with the city of Prescott. Okay. Between G.E.M and the Community Nature Center. So we kind of have some responsibility for taking care of it. Good. Because it was, we're both not from here, but my understanding, it was kind of established in the 70s, but was really underutilized for the last ever since then.
It was basically abandoned, more or less. And I just remember this from Ranger Ellen talking about it.
Yeah, so last summer when we made the partnership between the city and Ellen Basher was involved in basically the three of us together. Okay. And then so we decided that this was a great space that we wanted to fix up. So we'd started trying to fix up the trails a little bit, kind of improve the outdoor classrooms that were there. Okay. With our original goal being maybe we'll start doing a couple days a week in the spring. Yeah. And by August we were doing 5 days a week. Yeah. So it just, because of COVID, we just saw the need that, this is
absolutely
kids need a solution because they can't be indoors in school. Yep. So that was just the place for them to go.
Yeah, COVID, interestingly, has accelerated a lot of things. You just named that example, and it's decelerated a lot of things as well. So I hope to look. I'm sure someone's going to write a book on all the things that COVID accelerated and whatnot. But it's fascinating that, even Community Nature Center, the reason it has got some traction is because of COVID. It just so happens it has happened right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So as of last summer when we first started, there was kind of an outdoor classroom, but not really a lot of seating. But so since then we've built 3 classrooms out there, and we're in the process of building the 4th one right now.
What does that look like? What's an outdoor classroom look like?
So I kind of laugh because, me coming from Michigan, the idea of an outdoor classroom just sounds ridiculous.
Oh, of course.
But here, luckily Arizona, because it doesn't rain, you don't need a roof. So essentially it's just distance place stumps.
Okay.
So the kids can sit. They're at least 6 feet apart from each other.
Yep.
But yeah, they can be outside.
Yeah. Usually they have a whiteboard at the front, so you can kind of write notes and give them sort of a visual component.
Yeah.
But yeah, some of them have sort of like a little bit of shading for the summer when it gets hot.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it's funny. People who aren't from Arizona are like, what? Outdoor? What? Yeah.
But it has been pretty amazing to see just how much the kids enjoy being outside more. And I mean, I really think that they learn better.
I know I do. 100%. There's just something about it. Yeah. Especially when you have teachers probably like you guys and Ranger Ellen and there's just something. And Community Nature Center is beautiful. It's just a beautiful setting that I'm sure kids they just love it.
Yeah.
They do.
I think it's nice too when they can use their environment to learn a little bit more, like getting to go on a hike and go on a scavenger hunt and actually find things versus, being in a classroom and imagining that experience of getting to live it is really cool.
I think it's really important. Yeah. I want to back up a little bit. What was the impetus for you going to college for international studies?
Yeah.
Where'd that come from?
So I grew up being very lucky in the sense of my dad loved to travel.
Okay.
And so I went on my first international trip when I was 9. And from there, my parents were like, go. I did a few exchange trips in high school.
Oh, wow.
And right before my senior year of high school, I went to Peru just like on a family vacation. And I had never really seen a developing country before, and so that was a really interesting experience of seeing a different part of the world through a different lens. And so that's what kind of made me want to study international studies and international development.
And what was your thought about getting that degree and learning those skill sets?
That is something my parents still ask me. They were always, why international studies? What kind of job do you get with that? And ultimately, I just loved learning about language and culture, and there's a lot of routes you can go with that. But I also did a lot of studying nonprofits, especially internationally. And so that was kind of what narrowed me down to the Americorps nonprofit route, and then trying to incorporate. I mean, honestly, coming to Arizona was a bit of a culture shock. So we got
it is. It's huge.
Yeah. So that was a really interesting sort of combination.
On that note, I did an internship in college where I lived in New Jersey. I lived 20 minutes outside of Philly in Pine Hill, New Jersey. And I was born and raised in Tucson, and I went to school in Phoenix. So I'm Southern Arizona through and through. Yeah. And it was a culture shock moving. Yeah. I'm so glad I did it. I got to experience something completely different and new. But yeah, I'm curious, what was it like, actually, for both of you, what was it like coming to Arizona? When I was in New Jersey, everyone I worked with, they literally thought there was cactus on every corner. Like, that's what they thought, which makes some sense, right?
Yeah.
Southern Arizona has a lot of cactus. That's the very stereotypical thing. So what was your guys' cultural shock when you guys moved out here?
The lack of cactus.
Yeah.
No, I'm honestly, I didn't know Prescott existed.
Right.
When I first applied for the position, and I saw that it was kind of close to Phoenix. I was like, oh, okay. I'd been to Phoenix before, and I liked it. So, but no, I consider myself an outdoorsy person. I loved hiking and all that. So that's what kind of sold me on the area. Was there's hundreds of miles of trails here.
Hundreds.
And it's and honestly, I had no regrets because there's no better place to be quarantined than here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Emily and I, my wife, we've talked about how blessed we are. We almost feel, we feel isolated during COVID, but not but we can go places, right? Prescott is just kind of an isolated area in general. I think that's what I mean. But we just go outside and
No, it kind of reminds me, I'm from a small town. My hometown in Michigan is about 10,000 people.
Okay.
So
pretty small.
So this is actually a big city.
It's a big town, yeah. We have Costco.
Exactly. If you have a Target, then that is...
You're a big deal.
So that adjustment was easy for me. But no, I just love it. The scenery here, it still doesn't get old. Driving around, seeing Thumb Butte in the background all the time.
Yeah. And especially when you get to see it from different sides, and it's like a new Thumb Butte. Same with Granite Mountain. Have you driven out Williamson Valley and seen it from the other direction?
Yeah.
It just looks totally different, It's beautiful out here.
Yeah.
What were some of the eye openers when you came out?
Probably opposite to Brandon in the sense of this is probably the smallest place I've ever lived, the most rural. I mean, I grew up going to New York City all the time. That was go in for a couple hours. And I definitely knew what I was getting myself into when I moved here. And I actually moved here just in August, so right in the middle of COVID. And that was one of the reasons I decided on Prescott was, like Brandon said, there's so many trails, there's so many other things around, so many national parks within a few hours drive. And so that was a huge thing for me. I was like, well, COVID's going to happen. I don't really want to live in a big city anyways.
Right.
And, get to experience all the nature. And I also just have never lived anywhere not on the East Coast. So that was exciting.
Real quick, where all have you traveled around the world? You said Peru. Where else?
A lot of places, to be honest, but I would say the biggest ones are the ones I've spent the most time. I did a study abroad in India, a study abroad in the Czech Republic in Prague. So all over Europe, Australia. I did another exchange program in England, Morocco, Senegal, all over.
Were those all different trips?
For the most part, when I was living in Prague, I did a lot of, weekend here,
because
weekend
it's easy to get around Europe.
Yeah. Okay. But for the most part, a lot of them were separate occasions.
How long did they average? Was it a week? Was it a month? You were in high school mostly?
No, I was mostly in college.
Mostly, okay.
A few of them were, like I said, family vacations growing up, and that was, 10 days a week, that kind of thing. The ones in college were a little bit longer. Study abroads were anywhere from 6 weeks to 5 months. Okay. And then there were other trips that were also school related that were like 2 weeks, that sort of thing. So
I think that traveling provides the greatest perspective in life. I just me being from Arizona, going to New Jersey, and I've also lived in Chicago for a short time. It's completely different. The people are different. The culture's different. The topography is different. It's amazing to do. And so I always, like, my wife and I really want our kids to I would say, sit like your parents, go experience stuff.
Yeah.
Who am I to say that you should stay here in Prescott your whole life? That may be what you want to do. It's, not my choice. But I think it's really important for people to get perspective. It sounds like you've at least been a little bit around the U.S.
And you're right. Like, when I first moved to D.C. from the Midwest, my first shock was I held the door open for somebody and they just stopped and looked at me weird and said, "You're not from here, are you?"
Right.
And I was like, oh, I guess not. Yeah. So this is the East Coast. And then I became one of those people that became angry when my Starbucks order took more than 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And now I come back out here and it's relaxed again.
Yeah.
So it's different. I mean, every place has its own unique.
Yes. I think that's the point. I always say there's not one place that's better than another necessarily. It's not right or wrong. It's just different. And it's the way that they do things. Nice. All right. Let's dive more into G.E.M. Let's just, again, start from the beginning. This time you get to do the short and sweet. What is G.E.M? Go for it.
Sure. So like Annie said, G.E.M is a nonprofit in Prescott where we focus on trying to enhance the students in STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. So our goal is to really just promote those fields and help students in their whole journey through school to try and eventually the goal is to get them a job.
Okay.
So we do the stuff with the elementary students to kind of spark their interest, get them excited about science. And then as they go through school, we can help them out by helping them with scholarships, internships, and the new program that we're starting, G.E.M Corps, to help them even more with experience and professional development. So all of this leading to the ultimate goal of helping them secure a job in the field.
Yes. And I think that's probably one of the biggest disconnects between school and real life is how the heck do I get a job? Come on, someone help me.
Everybody, you graduate and then you apply to a job and they say, well, you don't have 1 or 2 years of experience. You're like, well, I just got out of school. But so we're trying to fill that gap so they can get out of school and go transition straight into a career.
We all went to I went to ASU, so we all went to big colleges, right? Yeah. If you went to the Career Services Center, the joke was you have to figure out where it's at first of all. And it's probably in the basement and there's one guy in it and it's wait, all these kids are going to school and need a job, but this is all that you offer?
Yeah.
So it's vitally important that you connect. And it's just a lot of work. It's hard to connect the dots from elementary school, junior high, high school into G.E.M Corps and getting them a job. Is that a program that has rolled out, or is that one that is currently you're fine-tuning? Or where's that program at?
So this is the pilot year.
Okay.
So the first year that we're doing it.
Gotcha.
We just started, we launched it in January.
Okay.
So we started off by hiring our crew leader. And then I've been working closely with him to try and design the whole program for the summer. And then our crew members are just starting this week and next week.
Those are the kids part of the program, the crew members?
So essentially what they do is on the weekends they'll...
How old are these kids? Yeah, just because they're not elementary.
No, so we targeted... Right now, they're all college students.
Oh, okay.
But the program is open to late high school, and there's technically no age limit.
Okay.
Like, if you want to go back and do something different, then
Gotcha. Okay.
We're open to it.
Yeah.
But, I guess to explain the program a little bit.
Yeah, go for it.
So our G.E.M Corps program is a workforce development program, is how we see it. It's kind of modeled after Americorps NCCC, which is the modern version of the Civilian Conservation Corps, where regular people went out and did things to improve infrastructure. So we have a team leader who kind of addresses the team. But so on the weekends, they go out and do conservation projects around the city of Prescott.
Okay.
So we have partnerships with obviously like the CNC. So we're going to do a lot of work out there. We're going to go to work with Prescott Creeks to work on the preserve at Watson Woods.
Michael was on the program.
Oh, nice. Yeah. So we've been in talks with him.
Great.
We're also looking at working with other trails around the city. Like the city of Prescott is another big partner of ours. So improving the trails and parks. Also the Highland Center for Natural History, in talks with them, and possibly the Heritage Park Zoo.
Great.
So we're planning on doing this all through up until the fall.
Okay.
But so they do about 8 to 10 hours of work on the weekends.
Nice.
Like get hands-on experience, like doing those actual conservation jobs, learning those skills of trail building, maintenance.
Yes.
Like fuels reduction, invasive plant removal, everything where they can do hands-on stuff. And then during the week, it'll be all online of them doing some sort of professional development. So whether that's working on like resume skills, interview skills, how to network, to other certifications like getting an OSHA certification. And then we have an 8 or 10 week course through Prescott College where once they complete that, then they get a certificate in civic leadership from Prescott College.
That's great.
So it's really just all things to build their resume.
Yes.
And then once they finish the entire 675-hour term, then they're eligible to receive a scholarship award worth a little over $2,300.
Wow. What would they use that for?
So that
what can they?
It can be applied to anything that has to do with their schooling. So tuition, housing, books.
Yeah.
Loans.
Anything.
Yeah, so loans.
Yeah. And that's 675 hours?
675 hours.
That's a big commitment.
So it averages to about 15 hours a week is how we have it planned right now.
From January to into the
fall. November.
Okay. Yeah.
But we designed it so they could do the work on the weekends with the idea that we wanted to support students with this program so that they could still go to school or have a job throughout the week.
Yeah. Who is the typical crew member?
Right now, our crew consists of recent college graduates.
Okay.
They both just finished or are in the process of finishing right now.
Okay.
So their idea was like, since COVID's going on, they just want something to get more experience, and
makes sense.
This is going to help them hopefully transition right into a career.
Interesting. That's really exciting. Where was that program, the Corps idea, birthed from? I mean, yeah.
It was, so our founder and director, Eric Welsh, it was his idea that he came up with last summer. And that's part of the reason I came on is like the two of us were talking and he really wanted to implement this. We had a bunch of other stuff going on. G.E.M at that time just didn't have the capacity to start a new program. Yeah. They only had 4 or 5 people actually working.
Yeah, it was a really small organization. And I mean, since then it's grown tremendously, like at least doubled or tripled or quadrupled in size.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let me then back up. So was G.E.M Corps kind of put in place to almost like a bridge? Like we've got people coming up through elementary school, junior high, high school, and we kind of want to offer almost a jumping off point to allow people to actually get jobs, get work, get experience that they would need for the future.
So we already had, before I started, there was a program in place called the YCI program, which I believe was Youth Conservation Interns. So it was more of an internship where students signed on, did a term, and then they were able to the internships were with the Bureau of Land Management. So most of them were able to easily transition into a career with the BLM.
Gotcha.
But we just wanted to add another step to it where they get, aside from just the hands-on experience, where they actually get the professional development of like working on your resume, working on your interview skills. And so there would be just more of a broad area where they could go to. Mm-hmm. So we just wanted to be able to offer students more.
Yeah. Where do you spend most of your time? Or is it on 5 different things? Like, is G.E.M Corps and you working with the leader, is that a big part of your week?
So I'm kind of all over.
Okay. Yeah.
Right now I'm just trying to set everything up because I like to have everything planned out ahead. Yeah. So it's been a lot of visiting sites and seeing exactly what work we can do, like what we're capable of, and because I really want them to just be able to get the experience. They're not just cheap labor.
Yeah, absolutely. That is not the point of this program, obviously.
I mean, they're going to do great work around the city, but
of course,
but they're not going to spend 40 hours just doing hauling logs around.
Right.
So I really want them to be able to get different experiences. So I've been really trying to find sites where they can get exposure to all different kinds of work that they could be doing.
Yeah. Well, you named a ton of places that have a variety of work.
Yeah, there's no shortage of outdoor work to do in Prescott.
There is no shortage. No, that's a good point. How are those talks going? Is it something that is like they are someone like Heritage Zoo? They're open to it, and you're just now kind of fine tuning what it's going to look like.
So with the Community Nature Center and Watson Woods, we're all set with that. Okay. There's plenty of stuff to do there. The other organizations, it all depends on COVID.
Yeah.
Really,
okay.
Because understandably, like a lot of places, just are trying to limit the amount of volunteers or extra people that are around, which is completely understandable. So,
gotcha.
But by the end of the year, I assume
so just a little bit of a waiting period. That's exciting for you guys. We have a ton of good organizations around here that not only need help, but it's a win-win.
Yeah, it really is. And just all of the different places we work with around town and all the people, like, it just makes it really easy.
Yeah. I would like you to talk about STEM and kind of the importance of it. I have my mother-in-law is a teacher in Chandler, and their school's really big on STEM. But I'm not sure, just general knowledge, what people, if they could even tell you what STEM was and just kind of the importance of it. Speak to that, because I think that is, and the way the trajectory of our society, STEM is very important.
Yeah.
So speak to it.
Sure. So like Brandon said earlier, STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And I mean, when it comes down to it, STEM really helps our world function. I mean, it is engineers, it is mathematicians, it's chemists, it's nutritionists, it's the things you think of as traditional science of being in a lab, but it's also, building bridges and doing so many other things. And so I think a lot of sort of the misconception of STEM, and something that we've kind of talked about in the office a little bit, is a lot of times students or just people in general think of it as this really difficult field and this thing that's really hard to be successful in. And so a lot of times people don't necessarily try, and they don't think of it as a fun thing. In school, it's always like, oh, math. I don't want to go to math class for a lot of kids. And so I think that's why G.E.M is so interesting, because it gets to sort of tackle those issues from a really young age of trying to make kids think fun when they think STEM, of think to all the exciting outdoor activities they can do and all of the careers that aren't just the traditional STEM careers. And then that also having people that aren't traditionally involved in STEM, giving them the pathway to succeed in that field. So a lot of times I would say STEM is a pretty male-dominated field, and especially...
It has been.
Yeah, so trying to give people besides the traditional demographic an opportunity to be involved in that field, and especially to succeed in the field. Yeah,
that's exciting. I mean, I think that's the direction our world is going. Like, STEM is just becoming more and more and more vital to the future on a lot of different fronts.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so one of G.E.M's goals is to start from kindergarten, get these kids interested and involved. How early do you guys get to interact with these kids?
I think the youngest we've worked with is kindergarten. We almost had a few pre-K at the our STEM days with the charter school in Prescott Valley, I think. But for the most part, it's been kindergarten through sixth grade. Okay. It's kind of the, at least that's the age group we're working with at the Nature Center. Those are the, younger kids that we see most often is K through sixth.
Yeah. Do you guys like working with elementary kids?
I love it.
They grew on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not my first choice. That's why we have people like Annie. It's great.
Yeah, I love it because they're just
Yeah,
so excited.
they
And
are.
you never know what you're going to get with them, but it's always interesting.
Oh, it's all, yes, absolutely. What types of things, give the listeners an example or two of what types of activities that you'll be working with them.
Yeah, so actually I can just talk about the lesson we did last week, which was kind of focused on migration patterns and on techniques that animals use to basically keep themselves warm or cool depending on the climate. So just sort of living in different climates is a shorter way to put it, via birds and other animals. And so we did a variety of things of having them kind of use their scientific skills and test out with little baggies of, is wool warm, is cotton warm, different things like that, and have them sort of hypothesize what they think animals would best use in the winter. And then we also kind of transitioned it into some more active activities of, how do birds migrate north to south and kind of getting them running, getting them pretending to be birds, and just having a lot of fun doing that, building some nests and what would keep you warm in your nest and things like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Simple stuff. And it really especially connects the dots when they're outside and you get to talk about it and do those activities.
Yeah.
Yep. What about so we got STEM, we have, what about technology? Like, how does that work in? Do you have activities that help with that?
I think that has kind of become more of a, as they get older sort of process, if you will. I think with having those opportunities with maybe the G.E.M Corps program with the people who also have access to technology. When we're at the nature center, it's usually all about, being there and being outside and not wanting to
stick a tablet in front of them necessarily.
Especially because they're in hybrid learning, so they're spending so much of that time. I mean, I guess right now they're back in school full time, but
I know what you mean.
In the past, it was either fully distance or hybrid, and so it's nice for them to have a break from doing those things.
Gotcha. What about once they get into junior high? What types of activities might they be doing?
So I think a lot of our junior high ones have been probably more STEM days. Would you agree with that, Brandon?
Yeah, more like direct labs or field trips with individial teachers. So it's a lot more focused on the lesson plan.
Makes sense. Yeah, they're older, they can handle more and be more. What's in it? Can you give an example of something that they might have done?
They did. So one of our coworkers, Abby, she actually did a full sort of 2-day thing. So she was working with, it had to be at least 200 students, of going through the engineering design process. And so she studied engineering in college. And so she worked with a specific, the STEAM class at Granite Mountain Middle School.
Nice.
And so they came over to the Nature Center and she went through a whole lesson plan of them of, what is the engineering design process? What's it like to be an engineer? Things like that.
Yeah.
And that was sort of in partnership with a project they were doing of coming up with ideas for the Nature Center. And then similarly, another one she was doing was a STEM career day sort of thing. So just talking with them, with the middle school and junior high students about what's it like to be in a STEM career? What are your options? How do you do that? And those sorts of things.
Nice. Man.
Yeah, and from that, we got a bunch of proposals from 6th graders on improvements to the Nature Center that they all signed themselves.
Yeah, they actually presented them to the city council, right? Yeah.
Oh, that's a great experience. Oh my gosh.
It was great. Yeah, there were a lot of zip lines and concession stands.
Concession stands. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But no, it was great to see it. And they were really excited about it.
Absolutely.
And to have that opportunity for them to present their idea to an adult
that
actually takes it seriously. Like that was...
Yeah. Kids have amazing imaginations. Like my kids blow me away with the stuff that they think about. Yeah, it might be a zip line, but I would have never thought of a zip line, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat.
They don't find the same limitations as adults with things like that.
They have no limitations. And that's probably one thing that's really refreshing of being around kids. Like these guys, they're just living life.
Yeah.
Like, we're so tainted and I don't know. We've kind of been beaten down, so and kids not as much.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys wrote some notes that I want to make sure if there are things we haven't gone over that we make sure and go over.
Yeah. I mean, I think, let's see. Do you want to talk a little about NCCC, Brandon?
Sure. So this past fall, G.E.M sponsored, I had mentioned Americorps NCCC earlier, so kind of the modern version of the Civilian Conservation Corps. But we, as an organization, sponsored an NCCC team in the month of December to really accelerate the improvements to the nature center.
Oh, okay.
So up until that point, everything had been done by just kind of us.
Okay.
So mainly like Ellen Basher, the rangers out there, Taylor and Kate,
Yep.
and our staff. But since we had so many other things going, like
Yeah.
it was hard to find the time to really put the effort in out there.
Okay.
So I applied and received a team. So we had a crew of 10 people
Whoa.
come out. They stayed here for an entire month.
Whoa.
So I was really helped out by the city of Prescott, Parks and Rec, specifically Kelly Tolbert at the Parks and Rec department was great. She arranged for the crew to stay at a house out at Goldwater Lake.
Oh my gosh, lucky.
Yeah, right?
It was a beautiful house.
There.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
They were used to sleeping in tents at their last site.
Oh man, they're going to want to come back.
Exactly.
So what kind of work what'd you do? What'd they do?
Yeah, so they were here for an entire month working 40 hours a week. So 8 hours a day at the nature center. So they were able to improve one of the classrooms, build a whole new classroom.
Okay.
They cleared out just decades of brush that had been collected forever.
I believe it's 17 acres. So if people who listening have no clue, it is large.
Yeah.
And it's really bushy.
Yeah, there's a 1.5 miles of trail all around.
Wow.
That
I didn't know there was that much.
That they went through and improved everything, raked everything, lined the main trail with rocks so it's more defined to try and keep people in that area. They removed, I believe, like 58 garbage bags of invasive grass that had grown all around there. They picked up trash throughout the whole center.
Man.
Like they built benches. Like they were able to really get a lot done. And that was necessary because it really increased our capacity to be able to have more kids out there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because at that time we were could have like 30 kids at a time.
Okay.
And now
there's a couple hundred a day. I mean, there's 70 students enrolled in the COVID childcare program alone.
Okay.
And then there's also a lot of teachers who are bringing their classes over. So the Nature Center has to be seeing a few hundred students a week, if not more.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And it was amazing to think that for years, base was hardly being used. Maybe by some people just trail walking at best. But it sounds like you guys and Ranger Ellen and just a bunch of people have really come together to make it an amazing place.
Yeah, it was really a team effort of just like between the city, Ellen, and us all coming together and realizing that it was just a great place that needed.
Yeah. How soon till you apply for another? Was it Triple C?
And Triple C.
Call it N Triple C. Yeah. It's like you guys need to come for a little longer.
I mean, if they get that house again, I'm sure they would come back.
Right. That's a great experience for them as well, those people.
Yeah, they were great too. They were so excited to be there. They're all, NCCC is an Americorps program as well, and they're all 18 to 24, so they are all super excited to be there, having a great time. I went out there a couple times to, take some pictures of them and talk to them. They were like working with their chainsaws, just loving
the ball.
Yeah.
Man. See, I would like my kids to do something like that when they get older. Like, that's just great experience. You get to be around awesome people doing hands-on work in different parts of the country.
Yeah, they spend a whole year and they just rotate around. So they were here for a month.
I'm jealous. That's great.
Yeah, the amazing thing was that they made it through the entire month in December and nobody got COVID.
Yeah.
That was good.
Everything was fine.
Yeah. Well, outside a lot. Any other notes?
Yeah. Do you want to talk about maybe some of the opportunities that we have coming up with G.E.M. sort of now and in the near future?
Yeah, and definitely talk about how if people can support G.E.M and how that all works.
Sure.
So opportunity-wise, so G.E.M Corps, like I said, this is the pilot year. We just started. We just are starting our crew members this week and next week. But I'm keeping it open enrollment. So if people still want to sign on, they would more than welcome to. We'll accept members throughout the month.
Okay.
We may just have to adjust hours-wise a little bit.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so that's going to stay open. And also right now I want to highlight we do have scholarships open. So if you go to our webpage at gemenvironmental.org and click on our scholarships tab, we have several scholarships that are open and accepting applications right now for both undergraduate and graduate students.
Okay. What do they need to do in order, who is that scholarship offered for?
I think pretty much any student that's involved in STEM, and the
That's
requirements.
What I mean. Okay.
Yeah, the requirements vary based on the scholarship. So we have a couple. I think we have about 3 or 4 available right now, I want to say.
Okay.
And they all vary a little bit in terms of what the requirements are and what kind of materials you need to submit.
Okay.
But yeah,
Cool.
like Brandon said, it's all on our website under the.
And I'll put in
tab.
all the information.
Yeah, we give out several scholarships each quarter. So,
Great.
They're available all throughout the year. So we kind of accept applications and we review them as we go along.
Awesome.
But yeah, they're available and we're
Okay.
accepting applications on those right
You're
now.
wanting to move them.
Yes, we'd love to give scholarships.
Absolutely. Right. What else?
So we also, I mean, this is more of a in the foreseeable future, but we would love to get more volunteers, and potentially in the future we'll have more Americorps positions opening up based on grant funding and different things like that. We'll still kind of determine what those look like. But those will be coming up probably over the summer into the fall. And then we're always looking for volunteers, especially for working with students at the Nature Center.
Okay.
Really anyone that is a college student, high school student, or adult that is looking to spend more time outside with kids.
Yeah.
We would just love to have more people involved with that program. And, you know, we always need more child wranglers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, I was just thinking who might be a good fit for that. I'm like, what about some junior and senior in high school kids, maybe even thinking that they want to be teachers or something like that? Like, what a great opportunity for them to get their feet wet and be outside.
Even college students who, I mean, we're open to anything. College students who, you know, want to learn more about lesson planning, like getting them as involved as they want to be in the process, I think is a pretty solid way to describe it.
Yeah, and as you guys talk about it, it's totally something that someone could volunteer for and all of a sudden fall into a position and just kind of really start to flesh out a little bit of I won't call it a career necessarily, but just they could start work and doing things that they like. And there's a lot of leeway, a lot of latitude, it sounds like, of doing different things, going different places.
Yeah, and we'd like to, continue doing things at the Nature Center throughout the summer, like summer school programs, but also like after school programs right now, but also eventually going into like more like maybe like leading a nature walk or like a geology talk around things that are going around this. So not even just focused on kids. Like there could be adult
get
classes
the community
as well.
involved.
Like,
Oh, it's such a great place. Yeah, and there's clearly a wide demographic around here. It's not like you could help. There's plenty of people more other than just kids to help.
Definitely.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I enjoy most about GEM's programming is it's so open to working with anyone who wants to be involved. And that means, you know, age, gender, field, all of those things. There's so many ways for people to fit in and find sort of a home within their programming. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I remember Ranger Ellen sharing that same thing, and I thought, what a great, keep it open, right? Because people, no matter if they're 20 or 40 or maybe even 60, I don't know, maybe they're just looking for a new experience or something different.
Yeah.
They can totally get involved. Okay. Anything else on the list?
I don't think so. I think we did a good job at covering it. I think the only thing we haven't really talked about, which maybe Brandon might know a little bit more than I do, but just some of our work we've done in New Mexico and Phoenix with the Bureau of Land Management, I think that's notable to some degree of just those internship programs. And I don't think we're currently hiring for those, but just having that sort of expansive work of, you know, beginning to reach outside of Prescott and reach into those other places.
Because G.E.M started here?
Yeah, it started in Prescott.
Yeah, so speak to that, Brandon. Speak to this New Mexico and just kind of maybe the beginnings of branching out.
Yeah, actually, it's part of the expansion, but most of our funding comes from contracts that we have with the Bureau of Land Management, where we supply interns, and a lot of that takes place in New Mexico.
Okay.
So a lot of the work that, again, our executive director, Eric, he's out there fairly often.
Okay.
Like he'll go for like a couple weeks at a time, like every now and then doing different projects out there with the Bureau of Land Management.
Okay.
So that's all in New Mexico. We're currently trying to work with another division in Phoenix to open up more opportunities for internships there. So we're kind of, we're really expanding. It's grown a lot quicker. I think in the last, just recently, we've hired 2 more people in New Mexico.
Wow.
For jobs out there.
Are they interning with the BLM?
They're actually positions with us, I believe.
Okay.
I believe so, yeah.
It's kind of, that helps BLM?
Yeah, but they're more like science-based positions. So.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of sort of like I'm not sure what the exact technical terms, but from the pictures I've seen on Facebook that look really fun, it's been a lot of sort of mine work, not mining, but just like geology sort of based in relation to mines and rocks and things like that are, like Brandon said, a lot more science heavy.
Okay. Awesome. What, as you look into the future, what other types of things would you like G.E.M to get into?
I mean, it's really just the expansion on what we already have.
Yeah.
Like, so that New Mexico program is going to keep growing. We'll eventually probably have another office out there.
Awesome.
Hoping to get going in Phoenix. I mean, who knows? We could be expanding to other states as well. As far as our other programming, like I see the G.E.M for STEM, which is where we work with the elementary students.
Okay.
Like that's going to just continue to grow with what's going on at the Nature Center. We're looking into expanding our office to have a tutoring center too, where we can have people volunteers come in from the community to help tutor students in STEM.
That would be awesome. We have so many amazing people here that I would love to think they'd jump on that opportunity.
Oh yeah, like the retarees in the city, like you talk to them and you realize like, oh, you were an astronaut.
I met he was what was he? He was a physicist at Cal Berkeley for like 40 years. Yeah. And you're just an old retired guy here. You know?
There's some amazing people in this community.
Amazing people here in the community.
So we'll like to get that. And then I'd like to continue expanding the G.E.M Corps program that we have going now to, I see it in like a year or two having more than one team.
Absolutely.
Going out and doing projects. And getting even more involved, branching out to like the national forest or the national parks. And like really sending people all around Arizona to do work.
And just being a really diverse thing you can step into.
Exactly.
That's so exciting. Was this part of Eric's vision?
Yeah.
I think one thing that, and I don't want to speak for him, but I think one thing he's been super excited about is offering positions or future jobs to people that wouldn't normally get those opportunities, of sort of trying to just give people opportunities and let them expand through those and grow that way. So I think programs like G.E.M Corps, like the YCI internship program, they are really focused on, you know, that area of giving people, underrepresented students,
which is what
chance.
You said is kind of a passion of yours.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And that's, again, what made me so interested in G.E.M of working with different communities and students that, I mean, I was really lucky growing up of having so many opportunities, especially to travel and go to great schools and things like that. And I know a lot of people don't have those same chances. So,
yeah, we're really focused on helping students that are in those categories, like first generation college students or like English as a second language. So like those students are really like, it's nice to be able to help them out. And give them opportunities that, like you said, like we all had, but not everybody does.
Yeah. I heard a saying last weekend. I'm gonna botch it, but it goes something like talent is equally distributed, but opportunity is not. You know, this idea that it sounds like we were all very blessed in terms of, I was just very middle income family, but they gave me a lot of opportunities. I'm very blessed, never had to worry about a roof over my head or food on the table. And so to be able to offer these services to children who don't have that is really exciting. And I also have seen, and you guys may be able to attest to this, because of organizations like yours, I think we're seeing a push toward more of that. You know, we see more of the inequality in this. That opportunity is not equally distributed. So programs like yours can help with that.
Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely.
Cool. Well said, guys. All right, 2 more things before we wrap up.
Sure.
Since you've only been in Prescott 7 months?
7
Man,
months,
you're new. That's great. But you're not a whole lot longer?
About 2 years.
About 2 years? Okay, I'm 2.5. But I'm also from Southern Arizona, so it's a little more familiar. Just speak to Greater Prescott in general and what it is that you enjoy here, and go for it.
I have loved all of the outdoor opportunities, and also just how everyone, I mean, the community that I know has mostly been the Americorps community and just sort of my work community of all of our community partners. But they have all just been so excited to be here and be doing what they're doing, which has been really refreshing and really nice. And I just enjoy getting to be outside, even when it's 28 degrees out, like this morning, and it's sunny. It's not 28 degrees in New Jersey. It's a very different experience. So I've loved that. I've loved the weather and just all of those things that Prescott has to offer.
Totally. What trails have you been on that you really liked, or mountains that you climbed?
I love the whole National Forest area, like Lynx Lake, kind of that whole area in there is probably my favorite, especially because the first time I went, I was like, wait, this doesn't look like Arizona. This looks like the East Coast.
Right?
So that is kind of a nice little slice of home.
It's as much of the East Coast as we have.
Yeah. So I love the foliage there and just all the beautiful mountains and lakes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
What about you?
I agree. Like, just the outdoorsiness here and being able to do it for more than 4 months out of the year. Just seeing the sun all the time is amazing. Like, you don't believe how big of an impact that is until you come from an area where it is gray all winter.
Yeah.
Like, it definitely helps the mood.
Yep.
But also just the people here. Like, coming from, like, being in DC for a long time, like, I got kind of... My driving was different.
Of course.
Everything was just a little more more tense and rushed. And you come out here and just it's friendly. Like, and because a lot of my work is contacting people around the community and asking for favors or help or anything. And everyone is just always open. Like,
almost always. It is because I'm
friendly.
similar as I invite people on the podcast. So open. It's amazing.
Yeah, so it's just been really nice to work with everybody in the community because I haven't found anybody yet that I didn't get along with.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like everyone is always open to helping in some way. You know, I've never heard a no. I've always heard, you know, what else can we do? How can we make it work? So.
Yeah, on the note of lots of sunshine, so I love days where it gets cloudy because I'm so used to the sun, whereas, you know, people like you guys are like, oh my gosh, go away, clouds. But when I lived in Chicago for almost a year, the whole winter was gray.
Yeah.
And that, you know, the one or two times where the sun came out, it was like, hallelujah, like, oh my gosh. But it's not like that around here.
Yeah, no, over there it's 50 degrees and everybody's wearing their shorts and laying outside.
Yeah. It is so different. Yeah, I like it here too for a lot of those same reasons. All right, I've got some fun questions to ask you guys.
Sure.
This is the rapid fire question section. Just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. If you have more than one thing, just say more than one thing.
Sounds good.
Here goes. First question, what's your favorite thing about Greater Prescott?
Nature. That feels so repetitive, but the trails.
What's your favorite restaurant in Greater Prescott?
El Gato Azul.
That's a good one, but I guess I'll say the Raven to be different.
Yeah, they're both really good.
Both really good. What's the number one thing on your Greater Prescott bucket list?
I'd like to do the whole Prescott Circle Trail all around.
I would too.
Probably not in one day. But
probably not in one day.
Just to be able to do the whole thing.
You got to start running, I think, to get that done.
I would say hiking Granite Mountain. I still haven't done that. That's on my list.
Yeah, that's what the last person said.
Oh.
Yeah, and 2 people ago, he's done it. Adam did it, and he said it's phenomenal. And I think you can see almost 360 views from there. And so I even see a part of like the state that you don't normally see.
Yeah.
So I've heard it's really cool.
Very cool.
Yeah. What's your all-time favorite place that you've been, that you've traveled to?
In the world?
Yes.
Or, okay, I was like in Prescott.
No.
Probably India.
Okay.
I loved it there. I think also because I spent a good amount of time there. I really got to know it. So.
You got into it? What about you?
Probably the Caribbean, just because just relaxing.
Not DC chaos.
Yeah. What are 3 words to describe living in Greater Prescott?
Sunny, friendly, and I would say open.
I have to give 3 different ones?
Yeah.
Challenge.
Give it a shot.
Okay. What's another word for sunny?
Bright.
Bright.
These guys.
I mean, outdoorsy, definitely one. I mean, it's unique, like between the landscape and like Annie said, there's some places where you look around and you're like, this is the East Coast. You have pine trees, but you also have like small cactus and scorpions. Like,
it is weird.
It throws me off. So yeah, unique. Yeah, I'm just gonna say friendly again. Yeah. Like I know it's cliche, but
it
everybody's hometown, but like it really is.
It's really true. So as I ask these questions, as specifically, what are the 3 words to describe? I get like the same answers, right? And it's because it's not cliche. Like this is just, we have a very friendly place. We have a very outdoors place, and that's why people like it. If you guys weren't working for G.E.M, what would you be doing?
That's a good question. I mean, I would say following my Americorps term, I'm looking to work abroad. So potentially teaching English in Spain or something of that sort, trying to kind of build my international experience a little bit as it relates to education.
Okay.
Probably would have gone back to physical therapy.
Okay.
But no, now that I've like entered the nonprofit world and like seeing the broader effects as opposed to just being able to help one patient at a time, like now I can help like an entire population of people, which so
that's pretty special.
I just want to keep doing that.
Awesome. Last question. What's your favorite summer activity in Greater Prescott? Which you haven't officially been through a summer, so maybe what's one thing you're looking forward to?
I think I'm looking forward to finding some cool sort of swimming hole spots, which I've heard there's sort of a few out towards Sedona, a little bit more that direction, and just kind of exploring the summer version of outdoors, I guess.
Yeah.
I just decided to go all in on rock climbing.
Awesome.
So I now have all the gear, so I'm excited to really get into that.
We have a little rock climbing mecca here.
We do.
Yeah.
I had never done it before in my life. I did it last summer for the first time, and I'm hooked now. So I'm hoping to really dive into that
this summer. Have you got any tips from locals on where to go, or how have you started that process?
Oh, yeah, I've only gone with locals.
Okay.
Like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah.
You just met some people. Have you met the guy over at Gripstone, the owner?
I've been to Gripstone a few times, but I don't know if I've...
Have you heard about the owner over there? His name's Tony.
No.
Allegedly, and I don't think he'd ever tell you this, he was like kind of a world famous rock climber at some point. Wow. But anyways, he was on one of my pre-podcast videos, but him and his wife run Gripstone, and really neat people. So.
Nice. Yeah, I'm not on that level. I just want to do it for fun.
No, I know. Yeah. Awesome. That's it. Was there anything that we did not cover that you need to tell the people? I will put in all of the information that you guys send me in terms of emails and websites and things like that for people to contact. Yeah. If there's any last words of advice for people,
I would just say if anybody wants to get involved with any aspect of really any of the things we talked about, to just send us an email, send us a message, and we can see what we can do with that.
Yeah.
Also, being a nonprofit, we are always accepting donations from generous people. Especially right now as I try and get this G.E.M Corps program running, we're currently searching for organizations willing to donate tools, like equipment for us to use. So we're always looking for that, or just any donations are always appreciated. But in order to get this program to really flourish and for us to be more self-sufficient and not rely on borrowing things from our awesome partners, but we'd like to do more things on our own. So we'd like to be able to build a stockpile of our own tools and equipment for the participants to be able to use.
Awesome. I assume there's some place on the website where they can go to donate.
Yeah, there's on the website, there's a donation tab, and they can learn more information there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You guys, it's so fun to learn about different things in Prescott. I have a lot of business owners on, and it's really interesting to see kind of the other side of things that you guys aren't, you don't necessarily throw up a big sign on the side of Iron Springs Road or something like that. So you kind of get lost a little bit. And so it's fun to talk to people like you and Community Nature Center. And I'd love Heritage Park Zoo to come on, and Highland Center.
The Highland Center.
The Highland Center. We just have so many amazing things going on here. And so I really appreciate you guys coming on the pod.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. It's nice to just talk with more people, especially for myself, who I'm not from Prescott, haven't been here that long, to get sort of the full Prescott experience.
It's a good experience. It's a unique experience.
It definitely is.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that it?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, then let's wrap it up. I really appreciate your time. Like I shared with you in the beginning, it means a lot to me, and I hope that people will listen and figure out where they can potentially get involved, potentially serve, donate, and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, let's wrap it up with a nice big smile. You guys, thank you very much for joining us, and have a great day.